You're 67. You feel great. You walk every morning, you cook your own meals, you haven't missed a single Sunday dinner with your grandkids in years. Then your doctor calls and says four words that change the rest of your week. Your kidneys are failing. My name is Liam Green. I've spent years going through clinical studies on nutrition and kidney health, and this channel exists for one reason: to help you understand what that evidence says without empty promises. What I'm about to share comes from controlled trials and reviews published in peer-reviewed journals. Today, I'm showing you 4 foods backed by studies in actual humans for kidney function. Stay until the end. Number 3 has one of the strongest scientific track records in this research. And number 4 is different from the others. Its evidence is honest, not perfect, and that's what makes it trustworthy. Before we go further, you need one concept. I call it the filter under pressure. Your kidneys are a fine mesh strainer. Every day they pull a waste product called creatinine out of your blood and flush it out when you go to the bathroom. Healthy strainer, low creatinine. Struggling strainer, creatinine builds up. That's the number on your lab report rising. Over the years, 3 things cause that struggle. First, less filtering per unit of time. Second, chronic inflammation damaging the microscopic walls. Third, oxidative stress speeding up that damage, like rust building inside a pipe. Keep that picture in mind today. Food number 1, turmeric. Let me introduce you to Carol, 63, a retired receptionist outside Phoenix. At a routine checkup for her type 2 diabetes, her doctor found protein in her urine, something she'd never noticed. Here's the problem. Protein leaking into your urine sounds minor. It isn't. It's an early warning sign that the kidney's filter is already damaged. Sometimes years before that creatinine number on your lab report ever moves. A review of 5 clinical trials with 290 participants found that curcumin, turmeric's active compound, gave people a small but real drop in that creatinine number, plus improvements in cholesterol and blood pressure. Small but measurable. Not a guess, not a marketing claim. Here's the more interesting part. A separate, larger review of 12 trials with over 600 kidney patients found something different. The creatinine number itself barely budged. What did improve consistently was the protein leaking into the urine, that same early warning sign we just saw with Carol. So the honest takeaway is this: turmeric's clearest benefit isn't pushing creatinine down. It's helping patch the leak before more damage builds up. What to do instead? Studies use between 500 and 2,000 milligrams of curcumin daily, almost always paired with black pepper, since piperine improves absorption. With kitchen-variety turmeric, a teaspoon with a pinch of black pepper in soups or stews is a reasonable starting point. Wait until number 3, because that's where the evidence gets even stronger. Food number 2, soy protein. Let me introduce you to Edward, 59, a bus driver in Cleveland. Diagnosed with early-stage kidney disease, he was told to cut back on protein and heard that as eliminate it, leaving him drained of energy. Here's the problem. Not all protein behaves the same way inside the kidney, and removing it entirely isn't the answer. An older review of 9 controlled trials, with close to 200 participants, found that swapping part of someone's animal protein for soy significantly lowered both creatinine and a related marker called phosphorus. Digesting animal protein makes your kidneys work harder, like running a strainer at full blast nonstop. Plant protein eases that load. But I want to be straight with you. A newer, larger review of 18 trials with over 500 participants didn't see that same creatinine drop. What it did find was a real improvement in cholesterol and in that protein-leaking marker we keep coming back to. So the honest picture is this. Soy's kidney benefit looks real, but it's likely showing up in cholesterol and in protecting the filter, not necessarily in the creatinine number itself. What to do instead? 2 or 3 meals a week, swap meat for tofu, edamame, or unsweetened soy milk. Stay with me, because the next food has the strongest backing in this entire video. Food number 3, extra virgin olive oil, but not just any bottle. Let me introduce you to Eleanor, 71. A widow outside Sacramento who cooked daily for herself and her visiting kids. Managing moderate chronic kidney disease, she figured any olive oil was just as good as the next. Here's the problem. It isn't, and the difference is bigger than it sounds. A clinical trial with 40 kidney patients compared two extra virgin olive oils, one high in polyphenols, natural plant compounds with antioxidant power, and one with a moderate amount, both at about 3 tablespoons daily for 9 weeks. The high polyphenol oil improved kidney filtering, reduced protein leaking into the urine, and lowered inflammation. Benefits held even after people stopped taking it. A 2026 review confirmed this at a larger scale. Olive oil rich in these plant compounds was linked to a slower decline in kidney function in people with chronic kidney disease who weren't on dialysis. Regular olive oil, without that higher plant compound content, didn't show the same effect. What to do instead? Look for extra virgin on the label, ideally from a recent harvest, since polyphenols decline with time and light exposure. 2 tablespoons a day, used raw, preserves those compounds best. Food number 4, onion, the most honest story on this list. Let me introduce you to Maria. 65, a seamstress in San Antonio with high blood pressure for the past decade. She'd heard onion cleans out the kidneys and started eating it in large amounts, waiting for a miracle that never fully arrived. Here's the problem, and it's why this story is different from the rest. The evidence on onion isn't absolute, and telling you that honestly is part of doing this right. A trial gave 70 people with elevated blood pressure either 162 milligrams of quercetin, onion's main antioxidant, or a placebo daily for 6 weeks. Looking at everyone together, blood pressure didn't drop in any meaningful way. But among those who already had diagnosed high blood pressure, like Maria, quercetin did lower it by about 3.6 points on average compared to placebo. What to do instead? If you already have elevated blood pressure, there's a real, if modest, case for adding more raw or lightly cooked onion to your diet. But don't expect a miracle. It's support, not a solution on its own. I promised you something useful. 4 questions for your next doctor's appointment. 1. Is it safe for me to increase turmeric or curcumin given my medications? It matters because it can interact with blood thinners. 2. What share of my daily protein could come from plant sources like soy given my current stage? 3. What kind of olive oil would you recommend for me? 4. Does it make sense for me to add more quercetin-rich foods like onion? Any good provider will welcome these questions. And if they don't, that tells you something too. I want to close with something Eleanor wrote to me weeks after switching her olive oil and adjusting her diet. For the first time in a long while, I feel like I understand what's on my plate, and that's given me back some peace of mind. That's what this is really about. Not just a number on a lab report, but a sense of control.